I have to start by thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for sharing Ahuva with us for the time that she was here. I always think about Ahuva's life, especially when it was becoming more apparent the most recent time that it's going to be shorter than we would get to have otherwise. I think of her life as being something that was an experience that was condensed. It wasn't a truncated life. It wasn't a life that just ended. We really got to have a life together. It was very appreciative of how lucky I was to have her for the time that we were married. And I think that all the people who know her for even longer than I do, which is about 10 and a half, 11 years this Pesach, I think that people would feel the same way, that it was really, she was a matana. She was almost taken a bunch of times. I don't know, a bunch of times, but she was with us still. Our marriage was the most incredible marriage. To say that she was my best friend is an understatement, of course. We got to laugh together lots of times. We had so much simcha. The last 7 years were a very big nisayon with her illness and everything that came with that. And the pain and the suffering. But we laughed all the way through. And we also cried together. And we were nechama for each other. She was so worried about me. That was what she was worried about. She was, in the last few days, not so lucid. She was asleep most of the time. And the other day, I had basically gotten used to things, sort of chaotic way of life, and I, one night, 2 nights ago, I just broke down crying. And she reached up and she comforted me. And she hadn't been crying over the past few days at all, and I saw that there were tears coming down, and she said, I said, why are you so sad? So why are you crying? And she said that she was crying and she was sad for me. We had so much respect for each other. And we had a lot of fun together. I don't know how many people can say that, but they really had a lot of fun together. We were a crazy couple. We used to go ice skating in the kitchen, in my in-laws' kitchen in Muncie, where we lived for 3 years. While we were trying to save up money for Aliyah. And the floor was really nice and a great place for ice skating in socks. And that was just a small anecdote that really characterized, I feel like, what our relationship was. We really enjoyed the presence of one another. And we were the people we spoke to the most. We enjoyed each other's company. We had the most incredible family trips. To talk about the kids and what she did for the kids, first I'm going to talk about what she did for me. And that was really to teach me how to become an Abba. She was just the most incredible parent. I was telling my Ahuva Prager that since it was sickness for it's been a long time, we weren't able to have more kids, and that was always something that she was sad about. And I was sad about that too. But our house was an incredible place, and some of that was because we had 2 kids, and we devoted all of our energy to the kids. And she poured every single every single ounce of energy into our children. When we were dating, which wasn't so long ago actually, about 10, 11 years ago, first thing she told me, she said, I don't want to have a job. I said, what do you mean you don't want to have a job? What are you going to do? You're going to be bored at home. She said, no. She said, I want to be at home for the kids. God willing that we should have them. And that's basically exactly what ended up happening. I'm not quite sure that this was the way it was planned, that she had planned it, but that's what ended up happening. And it wasn't just that she did so much for the kids, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but she taught me how to really, what I needed to do as an Ahuva. All the time she was giving me advice, loving advice, and she was always right. I feel like our marriage started a long, long time ago, sometimes, and other times it was only really 10 years ago, which wasn't that long ago. But we didn't both get old together, but we went through some of the things that people do when they get old together. And while it was a trying time, it was an incredible time, because as much as I knew Ahuva, I got to know her even better through the whole thing. And we supported each other. And it was an amazing thing to really get to know Ahuva to her deepest depths. And she was kulat tov, is the best that I can say, because it's true. She didn't have an ounce of bad feeling in her body for anyone. She was obsessed with how everyone else was feeling. That's what I could say. She was so concerned that every single grandchild in the family got the exact same amount of attention all the time. And she was constantly badgering the older generation about making sure that if they hugged our kids, that they hugged all the other kids exactly the same way. She wanted to make sure that everyone felt the best that they could possibly feel. And in terms of our marriage, I feel like the energy that was there at the beginning, and I still, to this day, remember holding her hands at the beginning, waiting to come out onto the dance floor. Looking at her eyes. And knowing that it was right, I still feel that sense of closeness. She cared so much individually about each of our kids. It wasn't just the kids, it was each kid individually. And she wanted every kid to have their own time with her. She spent so much energy, especially at the end when things were so hard for her. The kids would come over and give her a hug and everything hurt. Everything hurt. I could see the pain on her face. As she hugged the kids had no idea. The kids just felt the best embrace she could possibly give them. And until the end, I brought her in and I explained to the kids that she wasn't so lucid and she wouldn't necessarily know that they were there even in the room. I brought them in for 30 seconds each. 2 days ago I brought them in and she actually gave each one a bracha. And she talked about how proud she was, what she wanted for them in the future. And she was there, and it was all of her. She was there. She did incredible things for the kids. She was in pain, and she ran Camp Ima for them, for all of those of you who remember her term, Camp Ima. The whole summer she was with them, and she was in pain the whole time. And she was feeling sick, and she was feeling terrible. The kids didn't know anything. I mean, they knew she was sick, but they didn't know anything. She made a schedule for them every single day, and she was so proud of them.